This is the Hakki Pilke Falcon 35 review. I'm all for, you know, new machines and everything, and I'm one of them that I always, before I buy one or before we get one, I go on YouTube and the first thing I do is look for a review, right? Other than the Hakki Pilke reviews with like professionals using this machine, I've not actually seen what I call a fair review, like as in you review the things that us as you know, professionals, if you like, want to know, or not just I say professionals because I couldn't think of another word and that sounded really good, but oh look, I'm showing you. So basically, I keep blabbering on, but us people that are buying these machines, these are the things we want to know, right? So here we go. So the setup of it, right? This is the feed conveyor which sucks the wood in. It's literally, there's a little clip here, there, which has that pin in it. Take the pin out, you push that back, you lower this down. It's got that red lever, that red thing there, which goes in that little hole down there. I've just done it one-handed holding a camera, so you can see that really isn't that hard, right? So the in-feed conveyor, which I'll get back onto later, very good, easy to set up. The conveyor belt is actually a different matter altogether, so I will have to put you down, right? Because Luke's got my thing that holds the camera, you just have to bear with me, right? So this conveyor has this lever here, right? Unless I'm doing this wrong, you have to push that up. Well, I actually have to release this first, right, which is the winch to release it. So give it a bit of slack, right, and then I have to push that up. I've looked around for other levers to do it, because I look at that and thought, well, is that a lever? I suppose it is a lever, but it's stiff, right? I suppose it's stiff to keep it in its transport position. I get that, but what I'm saying is, you know, why not have it more upright or something? So you know, like down here, look how cramped up I am. To try and lift that up, and then you have to push on this, which they have supplied handles, which is nice of them. Now, all right, you could say that looked fairly easy, but not ideal. You know, I'm 31. I'm not strong. I'm not weak. I'm just the average, what I would say, 31-year-old bloke. But I found that a bit hard. You know, just harder than it needed to be. Anyway, so you lower that conveyor, right, like this. Lower that down. Now I have found you really need to lower it quite low, right? So like that. And then, yeah, I agree, this is a good idea. These handles, great idea. But that is heavy. You could not lift that one-handed. You just can't. Unless you're the Hulk. So let me put you down there. You can't lift that one-handed. That is very heavy. And that all stems to That is all part of my review. Remember, you know, that is heavy, and I get it's a lot of metal. There's not a lot anyone can do about it. I don't know how you rectify it. I'm not an inventor, but it's very heavy. This thing is just the thing that just stops the belt folding over. You've got a clip under there. There's a clip under there that clips it so that it's joined on. But again, I'm winching. You know, that is hard work to winch that back up. It is just hard work. So the in-feed conveyor setup, easy. The outfeed conveyor setup, not easy. That I just don't find it easy. Perhaps it's the same with all processors, and it just is what it is. But fair review, right? So we move on, right? Again, I'm all for fairness, and I'll give my rating from 1 to 10 on how things actually work. Right? We'll start with this, the safety mechanism of it. That safety guard, 10 out of 10. One-handed, it's light. You lift it up, it stays up. You know, you don't ever feel like it's coming back down. Although I think one yesterday I did sort of partly feel like it was. 10 out of 10. The safety mechanism. As soon as you lift it up, the chain won't go round, the splitter won't come out, nothing works other than the conveyor. Brilliant. 10 out of 10. They've hit that nail on the head. They've got that perfect. I think you've got the nice working height in there for when you want to get in there. It's perfect, right? So safety mechanism, brilliant. Splitting bars, they sent me, say they, I bought this from Davis Implements in Carmarthen. I don't think they added the extra 6-way splitter, because I did actually say I didn't want it, but it come with it, and I'm glad it did, because I actually rate the 6-way one better than the 4-way one, because we had a Hakki Pilke, one of the sort of earlier models. It was an OH60, I think, circular saw blade. You had to feed it in yourself, do everything yourself. We only had a 4-way splitter, and I expect people with processors know, you know, the splitting is great, but you're gonna have to get some logs of all shapes and sizes, only if you're not putting through sort of uniform logs. You know, if you're putting the same diameter, the same thing of logs, which, let's be fair, who really is doing that? I mean, they're roughly the same, but not exactly the same. But unless you're doing that, you get lots of different bits. So I found putting the 6-way in, we didn't have to chuck as many logs back through, right? This safety thing here, 1 out of 10. I don't get the point in it. You know, it's obviously to stop people going in like that. It's a safety thing, but it holds up the logs coming out of there. Another actually funny thing, on the first Hakki Pilke we had, the conveyor belt winch was over the other side. So we used to have someone cutting, someone standing here. You had a hockey stick or a stick to pull the logs away. And obviously any big ones they could chuck back through. Yeah, I'm willing to admit that isn't how processors should probably work, but that is how, you know, when you find a machine, you find ways it's going to work. This machine, having the winch this side, it actually stops anyone standing here. You know, you can't, I mean, I'm not massively thin, I'm not massively fat, but you can't stand here. So that thing there is an absolute pain in the backside. You can lift it up, and I guess it stops logs jumping out here, but if you can't stand here anyway, I don't see the point. Don't get it, don't need it. 1 out of 10. The splitting bar is controlled by this. To be fair, that hasn't really changed manually. They're not easy to use, them things. A hydraulic one like we've got on our splitter, 10 times easier, because you can get it, you know, this sort of, sometimes you might want it, the splitting bar down like a little bit, but you can't, it's got to be in a notch. So I've never been amazed by that system. It works, but I find it needlessly hard work. You know, them splitting bars are heavy, and when you're doing that, you know, you really, I mean, that's one-handed. You really want two hands. I mean, people may be laughing, saying, "Ah, it's really easy." It's not. I promise you, it's not. It's heavy. Just admit it's heavy. So anyway, moving on. This here, I've got the PTO there. Just forget that. This here holds the logs down. It works. That's all I can say. It works. I actually think this here on the end here, I actually think could have been like a roller with spikes in. Again, I'm not an inventor, but a slide, you know, a flush, that's just a flat, flush, round edged bit of metal, you know, round sort of, it's like a, I guess it's a scaffold pole that they've welded in there. I mean, that on wood, that's not going to grip it, is it? Let's face it, that is not going to grip it. If you look at other machines, they have invented something that grips logs. That does not grip the log. So sometimes, inevitably, when the chain comes down, the bar comes down, it grips a bit of wood and it slides all over the place. So it works because it does hold it, but 4 out of 10, no, 5 out of 10. I've got to be fair because it does work, but you know, when you're cutting wood, like the idea of this machine, you stand here with this lever, is you pull that lever down, you don't want wood jumping about all over the place. Like, the idea of it is that you don't touch the wood. So why do you need to sometimes lift that up, reposition the bit of wood? You're not meant to touch the wood. So it's, in my opinion, that should have a grip on the end of that. Just spikes or something. Someone invent something, Hakki Pilke, get with it and invent something that holds the bit of wood, right? This mechanism here is measurement for the logs. I'll just show you something. Don't ask me why. I have no idea why that bit of metal is bent. Like, it come like that. Why is it like that? Why not just have a little L shape? And this is what I found the other day. For some reason, that is strangely hard to get in there, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know why, but I don't get why is this Hakki Pilke? Why that? Why not just a bit that comes out and a bit like that, and just push it out and put it, you know? I just find that a bit, logs hit it. I just find it odd. I don't get it. Or even have like a thing here where you push that down and it sits in it, so it keeps it locked into place. Why? I don't get it. I just don't get it. I think it's needless. So we're moving on to the conveyor belt. We'll leave the chainsaw bar till last. The conveyor belt, right? I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. It's very good. It would have a 10 out of 10 if you just put a bit of wood on it and it sucked every single solitary bit in, but through no fault of its own, sometimes it doesn't, because if there's a slight bend in the wood or the weight is down the far end, you know, obviously I've been putting 3 metre lengths in it. If you've got like a bit of wood here, you know, and it's heavier this side than it is that side, sometimes it doesn't suck it in. Brilliant. But 9 out of 10, I will admit, that surprised me. That is very good, Hakki Pilke. I should point out, I don't work for Hakki Pilke. They wouldn't follow my channel. This isn't any promotion or anything. It's nothing to do with, well, it is everything to do with their company, because they made the bloody thing. Anyway, I don't work for them. But what I would say is, Hakki Pilke, if you want me to review your machines in future, send them to me. I'll give them a fair review, because I think this is a fair review. So the conveyor belt, 9 out of 10. 10 out of 10 if it worked perfectly. Almost perfect, but it is very, very good. If you was thinking of buying one of these machines, and this part you wasn't sure on, I can tell you is brilliant. That is a very, very good invention. It works perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. It would get an extra mark if it sucked every single bit in, but it doesn't. But it is very good. It's controlled by this, which I'll show you in a minute. I'll show you it now. This controls, so you move it up and right, and that will suck the conveyor in. The further you push it, the faster it comes, or you can reverse it again, slower or faster you move. It's brilliant. It's easy. If you're being picky, it could be here. It could be 4 centimeters this way, just here, a little bit here. I think because sometimes you do have to stand here and just adjust the log, and you think, oh, I need to pull that in, and then you have to stretch over to there to move it. So if it was this way a little bit, I think it would be better. Not imperative, because I should imagine there's some safety thing about that, but don't know what. But because obviously I suppose they're going to say you're not meant to be sucking conveyor belt in with your hand here. But again, use the machine every day. You'll see the little things that you need. Hakki Pilke mechanics, like, you know, sometimes you do have to put your hands in funny positions. You know, people, you can't tell me, you people that do wood, that you haven't caught your finger between a log and a bit of metal. That hurts. Anyway, so that is good. I'll admit, this lever here is very good. That is easy. It's brilliant. The pulling down engages the chainsaw bar. That all works. The faster you go down, the faster it comes down, blah blah. But that's the chainsaw bar side of it. We'll get onto that in a minute. This knob here, 10 out of 10. Controls the speed of the conveyor belt. Brilliant. You can turn it right down to stop, so if the conveyor belt it stops. It says on all the instruction manuals, like if you get a bit wedged, which actually with the conveyor belt, I don't know if I've done the review on that yet, so I'll do it in a minute, but that does happen quite a lot. So to stop, I would do the conveyor belt review now, because then it ties in with this. So that knob there, this one, turn it down or up or down, controls the speed of the conveyor belt. So you can turn it off, which is handy whilst the machine's still going, because if you have to keep stopping it, it means you've got to walk all the way around here. All right, people will be saying, oh, don't be lazy, but what you've got to remember is some people would have a log deck here all the way over there, so you wouldn't, I can't, when I've got it set up, I can't walk here because there's a big log deck, which means I'd have to go this way, right? So you're not supposed to walk under the conveyor, so I'd have to walk all the way around here, all the way around potentially whatever I've got the logs going in, to get to the tractor, to turn it off, to walk all the way back, to unlock the conveyor, to then walk all the way back to turn the tractor on again. I get it, don't get me wrong, I get the safety side. You can't have PTOs going blah blah blah, but what's happened, like some machines you can disengage the machine whilst the PTO's still running. Why not just invent a clutch or something? The old Hakki Pilke, you had a little foot switch here that engaged the blade, so as soon as you put it down, it completely stopped. It stopped everything. You lift that up, it stops everything in there, but it doesn't stop the conveyor. So this knob does actually stop the speed, which works, but it's tricky because obviously you need it completely stopped. So the conveyor belt works like it does. I'll be honest, we found a lot of logs actually come down there, but again, you could say that's due to the height, could just be user error. You know, you don't want the conveyor belt going fast. I don't know why they have it going fast, because you can't, it's a stupid reason having it going really quick. I don't get why you're having it going, you don't need it, the logs don't get bunged up. Right, so you do get a lot of logs built up in this section here, like from the splitting bar to there. That's actually quite a way, that's a couple of foot. I don't get why they have this section here. Why not move this conveyor belt to here so that the logs fall onto it and go? Why do we have to have such a, you know, because you can't stand here and chuck logs back through, because the winch is this side. The winch should have been that side, then you could stand here easily and chuck logs back through, but I don't know. The conveyor belt, actually, Hakki Pilke, I don't know if they invented it, but they have got an ingenious invention on theirs, and if you've had a log processor before, you will know you get a lot of little bits of crap come off of it. Now you can get them like Dremel things that stand here, the logs go into the logs come off of there, they go into a Dremel, it goes round and round, cleans the logs. It's a luxury. I mean, people probably have the setup for that, but come on, you know, we wanted something else, and Hakki Pilke have supplied that something else. This here, it's ingenious. This little bit here is on springs. I'll lower it down and you can see. Oh, that's the other thing. I don't get why this is. You put the winch around there, you've got to, you know, look at the cat. If you're not big-handed, you'd smash your knuckles on there. I mean, why? Why, Hakki Pilke? Why? Just put the winch that side. God, and then you wouldn't have no trouble. Anyway, come up here. Right. This is ingenious. But what I would say is you do have to get some logs get caught in here. Doesn't stop the conveyor, but makes a bang. But what you can do, what they should have had is like a handle here, because if you just pull down on that, it releases the log, the conveyor pushes it down, and it comes out of here onto the floor, and it does clean. You don't get as much crap in your logs as what you used to. It does clean it. It is a good invention. So that invention, actually, to me, I actually think Hakki Pilke, that has saved you 2 marks on that conveyor belt, because this winch, this, if you're wondering what this lever is, that is actually not too bad. Again, I don't get, you know, this bit of rubber here, I don't get what it does. It doesn't stop any crack going in there, because you can see the cracks in there, but that metal bit there is the lock for the bar, so you have to pull that out, and then you can lift the bar out and blah blah blah. I'll say again, I don't know what it is with Hakki Pilke, why they've made a bar like that. Why not just have a hole in here, have the metal come up here, go in there, and you just pull it out? Why? What's with all of that? Why do you need so much metal? We're trying to save the planet, not kill it. That actually, the slewing is good. It's nice to have a slew, but that bit of rubber, do away with that bit of rubber, because when it's down, you'll see. How do I know whether I've released that or not? I mean, all right, it's moved to it's unlocked, but you know, you can't be sure that you've got it. I mean, what you've got to remember, you'll be moving that when the machine is all going around, so you want to be sure, you want to be able to see. But again, yeah, when you move, that is to slew the conveyor. So look, there you go, see? So I've not unlocked it. Exactly my point. How can you be sure? So you go down here, look, it's not unlocked. See, that's my point. So then you have to check. Stupid people. You should have made that easier. The conveyor to slew is not easy. It's not, it's heavy, but it is what it is. You know, you're moving a lot of metal. It's nice to have a conveyor system on there, but manually, that is not easy. You can hear me puffing, but it does go one way. Look, it's locked again. It's locked again. So you can't see because the bit of rubber's over it. See, if you was down there and you could think, oh, it's locked again. Look at that. It's not easy. Look. Like, make it easy, man. Look at that. I had to put all my weight in to push that over. Just moved that with my leg and it was quite easy. Perhaps that's the way to do it. Perhaps it should say a sticker on here, please push in with your thigh and that will move the conveyor. So you actually have to keep that pushed apart and move it with your leg. It's two-handed. Perhaps I'm being unfair. If I did that with my left hand and wasn't holding the camera with my right, it'd be fairly easier. Yeah, it was easier. Still not great, but it was easier. But now we've got the other problem. How do I know if it's locked in? Because I can't see, because a bit of rubber's in the way. Stupid invention. But anyway, right, so that's the conveyor. 7 out of 10. No. I'll give it 8 out of 10 because the log cleaning bit gives it 2 marks, otherwise it would have been a 6. Because it's heavy, it's not easy to set up. The winch is stupid, the conveyor belt bit is hard, this slew bit is hard. The slewing works, the conveyor works. So I'm giving it, it's an 8 out of 10. It's an 8 out of 10. It's hot, like, it does what it needs to. It's an 8 out of 10, but I'm not very happy, but it's an 8 out of 10. You do get a lot of logs come bouncing back down there, actually. It's a 7 out of 10. It's a 7 out of 10. Anyway, I'm leaving that till last. Moving on to this lever. 2 out of 10. Poor. That lever controls the splitting bar. So when you've cut the log falls down in there. It's all automated. I believe it must be something to do with this here. Knows that the log is in there. So when that comes down, it hits that, it pushes that back. It knows the log's in there. It splits it. Okay. But sometimes it doesn't know the log's in there. So you're standing here and you think, oh, I've got to push the splitting bar out. Now watch this, right? You'd think you just push that like that and it would be easy. But that is as stiff as anything. I don't know why. Is it a safety thing? Because they think if you knock that, the thing suddenly comes out. Because you don't knock it. You don't knock it. That needs to be easy. So what you have to do is this. Oh, look at that. Splitting bar hasn't come out. What shall we do? You have to do this. You have to bang it. You actually have to bang it. You can't pull that like that every time. It's stupid. You have to bang it. Likewise, if you push it backwards, if the log's falling the wrong way, so vertical, and the ram is coming out and you need to stop it, you have to push it like that. That is smooth. Look. No pressure, it's smooth. Could be a bit softer, but it's smooth. It goes all the way back, it stops it, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So if you can do it going backwards, why not do it going forwards? Anyway, that's 2 out of 10 because that's poor. We'll quickly show you around here. Again, don't know why this is. All these new machines, I don't think it's anything to do with Hakki Pilke because the AMR machines are the same. You can't use the machine when it's hooked up on this tractor. The PTO's too long. Someone could say, well, put a smaller tractor on it. Our International would struggle lifting that. It would lift it, but it wouldn't like it. So that really, that's the only thing that affects is obviously the setup of it, because we actually bought this machine for actually moving it around. I didn't want it sitting in one place, but I can tell you we've used it twice. We will be looking for a permanent position for it. I don't know whether that's the same with all processors. People say take the processor to the wood. No, it's not easier. We've tried so many different things. Bring the wood to the processor, because if you have to take it off the 3-point linkage, it is no good for moving it to the log pile. The sawdust thing, which is there, not very inventive, Hakki Pilke. The sawdust just blows out the back. You'd have to get, obviously, yeah, you need a sawdust blower, you need a pipe. Why not have a pipe on it that comes out here? Why not invent something? Why not have the chute come across here? Just be a bit more inventive. Coming towards the end of this review, the chainsaw bar. Now, if you're like me, you'd be saying, is that what I want to go for? We ummed and ahed. I once swore I would never ever ever buy one with a chainsaw bar, for the obvious reasons of sharpening the chain all the time. Circular saw, I've always been a circular saw blade man. I think they're 10 times better. People say about the cost of sharpening them, as costs about 30 quid once a year, twice a year, if that, so 60 quid a year to sharpen the blade. All right, does it cost you 60 quid a year to sharpen the chain? No. But how often does it go blunt? Well, let me just show you. So the reason I'm not doing the review with it working, with it used, because this has actually gone wrong. When it comes down, it's cutting and it'll get halfway through a log and stop, right? Now that chain is brand new. I would say that chain has cut, and that wood down there, if that's not clean wood, then I don't know, then we would have a problem, because there's not a lot, there's no dirt on it. Like, I don't know how you get cleaner. But the chain bar is not good. It's so far I'd give it a 4 out of 10. I don't know why it goes down into a log and sometimes stops. I think there's a problem with the oiling mechanism, which I'm going to sort out, but I haven't used it much, and for it to be playing up already is not great. But again, we've had machines before. I've had Quattromat before. I've got the Quattromat. We used that for quite a while before we actually really got it working perfectly. That chain isn't great. To sharpen it, like, do you actually have to take that off each time? Because look, I'm trying to pull on that and I can't, like, so do you have to take it off to sharpen it? You know, if you do, they say on here it's an easy tensioning system. No, it's not. 2 bolts, 1, 2, 1, 2, you crack them off and you loosen that. It's no different to a chainsaw. That's not easy. It's not hard, but it's not easy. Easy would have just been some like little lever that you just go dush and it's off. That's easy. That is not easy. It means you have to have a socket in the toolbox. I mean, when it comes with a toolbox, you know that you've got to have tools in that toolbox, which means something is not easy. So yeah, you'd have to have a and it didn't come with a designated one of them either. So that is not easy, Hakki Pilke. There's nothing easy about that tensioning system at all. You have to slide a screwdriver up there. It's not easy. I'm not impressed with it. I mean, it comes down, but you know, sometimes you pull it down too fast. And we had the revs quite high on the tractor. All right, I had it on the International with the PTO, but we have the Quattromat on the PTO and the International, and I put it up to the same revs as that. Sometimes you lower it into the wood too fast and the chain sort of jolts. I don't know if there's anyone watching, but that bar gets hot. I think it's something to do with the lubrication of it. I don't think enough lubrication is getting through. That bar gets hot, it burrs, which then makes the bar bigger than the chain and stops it, you know, where it expands, stops it going through the wood. If you're going to get a processor that is your sole thing to cut wood, which this isn't, because we've got the Quattromat, we've got a Bindenberger saw bench, we've got, you know, we're not 100% relying on this machine, so we're all right. You know, it'll be used quite a bit, but if you're going to use it to say cut 100 to or even 100 ton of wood a year, I think you need a circular saw blade. I think bars, you pay for what you get. You know, the bars, I think the bars are cheaper, the blades are better. I looked at reviews, people saying, look, let's compare the two. I couldn't find any decent reviews. This is the review. Circular saw is better. The other Hakki Pilke we had, the OH60, alright, you had to push the log into the blade, but it was better. And I think now they invent them where the blade comes down to the wood anyway, so I wanted to try one. I'm willing to, you know, I have to persevere. I have to work out why it's not, perhaps get the oil coming out right, and then we'll give it another go. But I'm not impressed with that bar at all. 4 out of 10. It cuts the wood, but it's not as fast as I thought it would be. It's just not. I'm just not in love with this machine at the moment. So anyway, the overall review. Because of that chainsaw bar and because of little stupid niggly bits on it, so far I'm giving it a 5 out of 10. I'm sure if we get it set up and get it working, I'll do that review separate, because I know this is going to go on for quite some time. But it needs to be better. It just needs to be better. I'm not saying don't go out and buy it. I'm saying if you're someone that's going to cut straight bits of wood all the time, and you want it just to, you know, just for that little bit of sort of easiness, then yeah, buy it. But if you're someone that is going to use it every other day for 3 or 4 hours a day, no, don't get it. I don't, from my first impression, don't get it. There's the Hakki Pilke Falcon 35. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the only way is up. The only way is up 'em. See you all soon.